Hi. For those that don't know me, I'm Virginia Walton and I'm an executive burnout coach. Prior to starting my coaching practice, I spent 24 years in the banking and finance industry, where I worked my way from teller at a small community bank to senior vice president, reporting directly to the chief risk officer by the age of 38. I would love to tell you that going from teller to bank with less than $1 billion in assets, which I think is still the case, to senior vice president of a $27 billion bank was super easy and didn't tire me at all, but I'd be lying. It was rewarding, but exhausting. Now, my goal in life is to help other women have the same or even greater success, but without sacrificing themselves. So, today's topic: executive women, do you want to do more with less? Now, before you cringe, I know I kind of tensed up just writing that because that always meant, especially this time of year, you had to do more work, more productivity with less resource, right? Whether it's cutting expenses, cutting headcount. Years ago, as part of a leadership development uh, day, they had all the middle managers do an exercise where we had, I think it was a New York Times paper and a glass of water. And we had to get the newspaper to hold up the glass of water. So when you have the whole paper, we were able to figure it out. Again, bankers, not engineers. But then the facilitators kept taking away parts of the paper. And I think by the end, we were down to like one page of the newspaper, but we still had the same size glass of water to support. Yeah, I'm pretty sure our table got wet because you know what? That's just not sustainable. You can't. Again, bankers, not engineers. So for those of you who have backgrounds in engineering and can figure that out, let me know how. But the point isn't to figure out how to hold up a glass of water with a newspaper, because when do we really need to do that in life? But we often get told pretty much every year, do more with less. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Doing more work, more productivity, more revenue with less expenses, less people, less downtime. You hear that enough. But that just leaves you running on empty, right? It's February. Are you already ready for the year to be over? Are you like, this sucks, right? You work so hard to get to the end of the year, to get everything done, and January comes around and you're back at point zero, right? I can't think of a year where my performance cycle started where January 1st my raise went into effect, right? But you reset your tax withholdings and your health insurance premiums went up. So, right? So January kind of sucks because here you're back at point zero in terms of achieving goals. You haven't gotten your raise yet, if you're even getting one, and more money's coming out. So, yay! And here it is, February. You're probably like, wow, great. It's time to deliver performance evaluations. If the bonus pool wasn't great, people aren't going to be happy. So, you really are going to have less resource because there are jobs out there. So as soon as bonuses drop, you always lose a few. They were already miserable, or and maybe their comp for the upcoming year just pushed them over the edge, or they already had something else lined up. They were just waiting for that check to drop. So you're kind of waiting for the next wave of less. But what if instead of thinking about less budget in terms of expenses and less people, less engaged people if they didn't like the comp conversation. What if we looked at it, you still have 11 months and it is Groundhog's Day. And according to Puxatawny Phil, you got 6 more weeks of winter. But seriously, there's still 11 months to the year. All right, January's done. If you didn't get done what you wanted, let's move on. How about you're achieving things, your goals, professionally and personally, right? If you gave up on your resolutions and personal goals for the year, dust them back off. Let's reset, okay? We still have 11 months. But what about having, instead of more stress, more demands, more challenges, more costs, right? Your personal costs probably went up in January. Everything's going up. One morning last week or the week before, I woke up and I'm like, holy crap. The price of regular gas went up 12 cents a gallon overnight. It's going to be an expensive year. What if instead of thinking about all of those things that you have more of, we could have this year, you have less stress, less exhaustion, more calm, more quiet time, more rest, more satisfaction, more time for you. And you're thinking, yeah, that sounds great, but I don't see fairy dust flying, Virginia. So how's that going to happen? It can. It can happen. Listen, I know. I grew up in the era of the original Famous Island. And I still keep hoping to wind up there because everything was possible, right? So I'm not going to send you to some TV set. We can make these things reality. They don't have to be something that requires, a small plane to a tropical island with magical powers. The power is within you. We just have to tweak too. Not talking about big changes, right? Life is demanding, but we can have less of the things we don't want and more of the things we do. You want more calm? You want less stress? Find a few minutes every day. It doesn't have to be a lot that returns you to center. Now, I know center sounds kind of coachy, but I am a coach. But here's what that means. Take a few minutes to just sit quietly for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be hours on a cushion, cross legged. It can be as simple as, if you're back in the office and commuting, you know what? Before you start the car to head home, or maybe before you get out of the car and walk in the house, just close your eyes for a few minutes and take a few deep breaths. Disconnect yourself from your work day to your home day. If you're working from home, you can do the same thing, right? Let's assume you have a room that you can close off, or space that you can kind of be left be while you're working. Give your few minutes. Or maybe in those few minutes, watch something funny, something that will break your mind of everything at work and refocus you. A few minutes of joy and laughter, right? Maybe it's taking a walk, you know. Granted, it's winter in New Jersey for me, but not everybody lives in a place where, you got to bundle up. But even if you do, the days are getting longer. Right? It was still sunlight at 5:30 yesterday. I was so excited. Take a few minutes to just go for a walk down the block, around the parking lot at the office, if that's where you are. And just be aware of what's around you, right? If you're in a little park, or there's one close by, look at the beauty. Look at what's happening in nature, you know? Sunday mornings, I have to be at church really early to set up, and the sun's just coming up, and I just stop and, well, not stop. I keep walking, but notice the beauty of the sky, or take particular notice of the things around me. I've lived here 20 years, and do you know, I see things I've never saw because I'm taking a few minutes to focus on what's in front of me and around me. That calms you. It only takes a few minutes. You want more rest? You want to feel less tired? Give yourself 20 minutes or 30 minutes before you want to get to bed. Put your phone and your devices away. Now, yes, I know. The first time I was told this by a sleep coach, I thought, yeah, okay. You know what, though? When I do, makes a difference. So check everything you got to check. And then when you go to get ready for bed, if it's a shower or just washing your face and brushing your teeth, don't turn the big lights on in the bathroom. Use a soft light, right? Start to turn the lights off in the house around you so your mind is getting ready for sleep because there's not bright lights around. Those little things. Let your phone charge in another room. Buy an old school alarm clock, right? So if you use your phone as your alarm, you're like, oh, that's why it has to be by the bed. It's my alarm. Don't turn the TV on if you have one in your room, right? 20 minutes. You got to get ready. You got to brush your teeth and wash off your makeup anyway, right? So make that your kind of shutting down time so that when you get in bed, you're ready. You'll fall asleep faster, right? Or, I'm still guilty of my phone next to my bed, but I turn on a meditation app and it helps me fall asleep. There's tons of them for free. So if you can't not have your phone next to you, use it to your advantage. Turn it on, put the phone down, close your eyes. You'll get a better night's sleep if you take a few minutes to kind of prepare and transition. You want more satisfaction, less frustration, less monotony, maybe? How about you really look at your to do list, both at home and at work? Look at your meetings. Do you need to be there? Or were you invited just to keep you aware? If it was just for awareness, can you send a member of your team? Does it give them opportunity to learn new things and report back? How cool would that be? What about things at home? Can you delegate those? Listen, I know a lot of people who clean houses when the pandemic hit had to stop. And if you're still working from home, that might not be an option. But hey, do you have teenagers who are leaving for college soon? Hmm. Especially if they're going to live in a dorm where they have their own bathroom or they share it with maybe three other people or something. They need to know how to do that. They need to know how to clean it. Delegate that. Unless maybe, I don't know. I worked with a gentleman who loved ironing. It was his downtime. He set it up the ironing board. He got to watch what he wanted on TV and nobody bothered him. Hmm. Do you know somebody who that's their chill out time? Personally, I hate ironing. I went to Catholic school. I wore pleated skirts from like age 6 to 16, 17. I can't iron them. I iron wrinkles in. I'm awful at it. So you know what? I don't do it. It frustrates me. I delegate that, right? And thankfully now I don't have to wear a lot of things that need ironing. But you get the concept. Look through the things that you have to do. And some, yeah, you can't delegate. You can't delegate performance reviews. You can't delegate those conversations. They may be your least favorite thing because they're not always fun. Okay. What about other things? There's probably stuff on your list that you can skip on. If you hate going into the grocery store, order your groceries online. Pick them up. You don't have to get out of the car. You can use that time while you're waiting. Hey, it's my solitude. Nobody goes with me. I don't even have to get out of the car. They load them in the back. Right? And tip on that, I know a number of moms and working women with families that said when they switched to doing that, they started saving money because they didn't see anything that just picked them up. They bought what they needed, so they saved time and money. Hmm, less stress, less spending? That seems to be consistent with our theme here today. Do more with less aggravation, less calories maybe if, you get sucked into that end cap of Oreos. So yeah, just take a little time, step back and look at things. Just because you've always done it doesn't mean you always have to. Just because you've always done something one way doesn't mean you always have to do it. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about massive changes. I'm not talking about taking a hard stance and I'm going to exercise at 5 a.m. every morning. If you do, great. But if you don't get up till 6 and you haven't been to the gym in a year, it's probably not the best way to start finding your center and some time for you. Let's find the practical, realistic solutions that are going to work for you, right? Self-help and, development books that help us find ways to prioritize our time. They're great, but they're speaking to everybody. Let's find what works best for you. I'm here to help you do that. And it can be done. And it's not about doing a 180. Little incremental steps make all the difference, right? So you can have less stress, less frustration, less feelings of exhaustion and overwhelm. You just have to tweak a few things. And I promise I won't make you try to balance a glass of water on a single sheet of paper or newspaper. Because you know what happens with that? You get wet, right? It is possible. So as you're thinking about all the less you're getting in your workday, let's find some more for you as a person. So if you're interested and you're like, yeah, this sounds good. I'm ready, Virginia. I'm ready for the change. I got 11 months left to this year. I'm going to make it happen. Awesome. Let's talk. So drop me a comment here. Check out my website, virginiawalton.com. Should be easy to remember. But let's connect soon. You got 11 months. Let's make it happen. Okay? With that, be well.